What's up, y'all? My name is Hassan, aka Sani Bravo. So I just watched an interview with Andrew Tate and former Fox News host and suspected white supremacist propagandist Tucker Carlson. And what happened in the interview was pretty much what I thought would happen at some point in the interview. They talked about various topics, and Tucker Carlson found a way to sneak in his views about race in a way that someone who's not consciously aware or consciously engaged with the black community will let slide past and wouldn't look at it like it's that big of a deal. And of course, Andrew Tate, being the guy he is, you know, he's pretty much a guy who's white passing, doesn't really identify clearly with the black community, considers himself mixed race, but really associates himself with mostly white guys, you know, hangs out with the fresh and fit type of crowd. He's not the guy that's gonna check him on what he was doing right there or care about what he's trying to propagate. So I'm gonna run this clip. Once they have their little back and forth and conversation about race in America, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my thoughts once I let this clip play. Let's get it.
So you said you're a mixed race. Your dad was black, your mom was not, was white English. What do you make of the race conversation in the United States?
I think it's deliberately, they're trying to put fuel on the fire and they're deliberately trying to accelerate division. This is what I believe.
What makes guys like Tucker Carlson so dangerous is that they mask their racism with plausible deniability at times. But there's other times where it shows as clear as day, and it's much more easy to point out. But I'm gonna play a few examples of him pretty much being caught in the act, letting his fangs show.
A couple of weeks ago, I was watching video of people fighting on the street in Washington. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1, at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight.
I think that if a black billionaire and a white billionaire meet somewhere, I don't think there's much conversation about race. I don't think I don't think there's any racism.
As of yesterday morning, that island was 89% white. Unfortunately, and this really is the point, Martha's Vineyard is one of a dwindling number of beautiful places left in our country. Martha's Vineyard is what most of America once was, not all that long ago. Over time, it will destroy the United States. This is our country. We were born here. We plan to die here. We have nowhere else to go, and we don't want to live in a slum.
No. Interesting. No?
They're not that interested in the topic, actually.
They don't care.
Right.
But amongst the lower echelons of the populace, they seem very interested in trying to turn us all on each other.
Yes.
I wonder why that is. And I wonder why they deliberately make laws and push media matters which are designed to do exactly that.
This show is the most racist show in the history of cable news. That is from the very careful and restrained New York Times that doesn't easily make statements like that.
We can sit, and I have my own theories. But I think what certain people in the world would be most afraid of is the white people of a certain economic class and the black people of a certain economic class shaking hands and saying, this is bullshit. I think that would be very intimidating for them. So it's certainly accelerated. And it's also very interesting because as a mixed race person, I will also sit and state, I don't look particularly black. Most people can't guess where I'm from. I've had more discrimination against me for being a straight male than I've ever had for my skin color. I've had more people look at me or have problems with me purely because of my sexual orientation and my generally masculine essence than I've ever had anybody say anything about my skin color ever. And I'll also say, if somebody has a real problem with my skin color, who cares? If someone's that ignorant, who gives a shit? Like, it's also, I do find it amazing they managed to psyop people into being so brutally offended by it. If someone were to come up to me and say, you're not white, I'd say, correct. Have a nice day. Who cares? It's amazing how they've got everyone wrapped up in this.
How, for example, did Africa fare after the British left? Let's see. Rhodesia became Zimbabwe. As of tonight, South Africa is still being run into the ground by an incompetent kleptocrat called Cyril Ramaphosa. So it's hard to see any of that as an improvement because it's not an improvement.
Yeah, it's certainly accelerated. Another thing that's very interesting about it, especially in America, a lot of Americans are insulated to, I feel like, world history.
Yeah, I've noticed.
You know, they're like, oh, slavery, slavery, slavery. Slavery was everywhere. Every country had slaves. Arabs had slaves, Chinese had slaves, Aztecs had slaves. Everybody had slaves.
The American Indians had slaves.
Everybody did.
A lot of slaves.
Correct. And they're like, oh, we've been enslaved. Everyone was enslaved. Unfortunately, the world wasn't such a nice place, right? And there's been ethnic divisions in every single country on earth since the dawn of time. There still is in many countries in the world today. They believe this is a uniquely American issue. And I would strongly argue that one, it's completely and utterly not. And two, I think that if you are black, white, Asian, I think if you stand up, self-respect, work hard, try your best, turn up on time, firm handshake, don't make excuses for anything, don't look for an easy way out, no matter what your skin color is, in America or England or any other Western nation, I think you can be extremely successful. I don't think anything's stopping you.
These guys are very crafty. What they like to do is take someone from the community that they are at odds with and get that individual who's not very enlightened about certain things to go along with their narrative. So basically, by Andrew Tate saying, oh, if you just work hard enough and you just focus and blah-de-blase, you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps, is basically, in a nutshell, the argument, which to a degree is true. However, when you have a system in place that the bottom 80-90% of the population are keeping less and less of the wealth, including the white population, the black population was already at a disadvantage. So societally, that perpetuates even more when you have the wealth being siphoned out more and more to the top. It's a systemic thing. So yes, you can have a group of individuals that work hard, study hard, blah-de-blase, but it's baked into the cake that there's going to be a percentage of the population who are not going to be included in the majority of the wealth accumulated no matter what. So yes, there's individuals that are going to be exceptional in every group of people, but the bottom line is black society is going to be disproportionately negatively affected, and he knows this, and that's part of the Tucker Carlson, Fox News, white supremacist agenda. So when Andrew Tate says his perspective, he's thinking from an individual perspective of someone who came from the bottom and made it himself. What he's not realizing is that the vast majority of individuals will not be able to do that. Societally, there's laws and programs in place to keep certain sectors of the population, in this instance specifically black people, out of accumulating certain percentages of wealth and being able to have upward mobility and be able to have certain freedoms in the country, not only in this country, but in the world, because white supremacy is a global system that is set up intentionally to disempower certain groups of people, primarily us, because of not only economic reasons, but also genetic reasons. They fear us because of their fear for genetic annihilation. They can't reproduce the way that we can. Their numbers are dwindling, blah-de-blase. So he's a white supremacist through and through. He has all the fears and all the, just every check mark Tucker Carlson checks on the white supremacist playbook. And if you go through and do the research, you'll see all of his talking points align perfectly. And there was one video I saw researching for this video where they were talking about white supremacists actually love and study him because they feel like he is a guy who's intelligent enough to help them sharpen their talking points to recruit more white supremacists. In a nutshell is what the video I saw said. But anyway, I want to know y'all thoughts. I don't want to know the people's thoughts who have no profile picture and that are basically just white supremacist trolls. I want to know, y'all know whose thoughts I want to see in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Sani Bravo, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, watch my other videos, share this video in particular, and I'm gonna holler at y'all next time. One.